This is a special presentation of Wave 31 Sports. Wave 31, your home for high school football.
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night. Hello, Alabama, find a comfortable spot. We got high school football and it's coming out high. Now here we are and the lights are shining bright. Yeah, Wave 31 is rocking all right. With Nolan, Max, Xavier, and Antonio. It's the McCurry Band and Car Rental Big Game Friday night.
It's the state quarterfinals. 10 area schools took the field tonight with the dream of continuing their quest for a state championship. It's Big Game Friday night, playoff edition. Hello and welcome into the show, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. 10 area schools are still in the fight for a blue map.
Yeah, that's right. We had some great matchups tonight throughout the state. From 6A down to 2A, it was a loaded schedule.
Yeah, at our Big Game Friday night game of the week, the Sylvania Rams found themselves hosting their DeKalb County rival Geraldine. And for more on the game, we'll send it out to Xavier Wary, who has the story.
Two DeKalb County rivals meet for the second time this season. Earlier in the year when these two teams played, Sylvania walked away with a 41-24 victory over Geraldine. However, this time around, a trip to the semifinals is on the line. So how would this one pan out? It's our Big Game Friday night playoff game of the week. Round 3 of the playoffs brings us to Sylvania, where the Rams would take on their region foe, the Geraldine Bulldogs. And look, both defenses proved to be stout in the first half, but that isn't going to stop Braden Thomas, the 6'2 running back, from carrying multiple Bulldogs defenders on his back as he fights for the Rams' first down. However, this drive would lead to a punt. In the second quarter, Jackson Colvin lasers this pass over to Carlos Mann, who's going to elude 2 Rams defenders and cuts it upfield with 6 on his mind. But it would be a non-contact leg injury that prevented points on this play. Bulldogs would turn it over a few plays later. And on the next Rams possession, Thomas finds a hole and watch one defender just bounce off of him as he gains another first. And the clock is ticking as we near the end of the first half. Jackson Smith is going to air this one downfield, looking and connecting with Landon Watkins for their biggest play of the half. And just a few plays later, Thomas takes the snap out of the Wildcat and bullies his way into the end zone for the only points in the first 2 quarters. Rams take a 7-0 lead into halftime. And it would be the Rams who would take down the Bulldogs in this one, advancing to the semifinals with a 27-7 victory. And I'm with Sylvania's head football coach, Tyler Van. Coach, a trip to the semifinals, what does it mean?
It means a lot. I'm happy for these kids, man. They did a really good fighting adversity. Things didn't go our way the entire game. We fumbled because we just, I ain't gonna blame nobody. We had a fumble early, but we was able to bounce back. You know, we didn't have the ball much first half. It's a tribute to their offense. They did a really good job of controlling the clock and running the football. And 22, 1 out, which is a tough break for them because Carlos Mann's a special player, and I hate it for him and his football team. But our guys did a really good job.
The atmosphere here tonight was great. A lot of people showed up and showed out. What do you want to say about that?
Man, thank you to our community. I know our guys do it for them and for themselves. They deserve every bit of it.
Coach, you're 1 win away from a state championship appearance. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And again, the final score in this one is 27-7. Sylvania defeats Geraldine in this DeKalb County rivalry matchup. Reporting in Sylvania, Xavier Wary, Wave 31 Sports.
So it's a big win for Sylvania, and that secures them a spot in the 3A state semifinals. So here's a look at who the Rams will be facing off against in that semifinal matchup. It will be Piedmont after they took down Gordo tonight, 27-14.
The Hartselle Tigers were among the few teams heading into Friday's action with a perfect 12-0 record. Their test this week, the Mountain Brook Spartans. And this was Hartselle's first quarterfinal showdown in a decade. Unfortunately, it would go a lot like the last one. Mountain Brook from Hartselle's side of the field, and Cole Gamble doesn't need much room when he gets going, charging across the goal line for a quick Spartan strike, but Hartselle was ready to respond. Rye Fletcher on the carry, and just like he has all season long, he finds pay dirt for the Tigers, and we're even at 7, but Mountain Brook could not be stopped. Gamble again, and the reward outweighs the risk on another score, but they weren't done yet. John Colvin sells the handoff, but he's got it and he's got time, launching it to a wide open Jackson Beatty, and that's another quick strike score, and they roll the dice again with Gamble. This time, it's a big winner, 88 yards to the house. This one puts Mountain Brook up 3 scores. The Spartans would hang on to end the Tigers' perfect season with a 49-30 loss. And down in Gardendale, Muscle Shoals looking for their trip to the 4th round for the first time since 2013, but Gardendale had other plans. On the first play of the game, Tyler Nelson to Aiden Cups, and this one goes all the way down to the 15 before he's dropped, but the Trojans couldn't get the stop. Jonathan Harris punches it in for the Rockets, but that deficit wouldn't last long. Devin Townsend, one cut, goodbye. He's a goner. Touchdown Trojans to tie it up. And after a muff punt, Townsend's got the ball again, and he goes to town again. Another long run for the speedster. Their lead would only continue to grow, heading into the lockers up 24-7 after the Cole Woods keeper. The Trojans would scrub the Rockets' launch with the 38-7 dub.
Yeah, moving our attention to the 5A playoffs, the Arab Knights, they were in action tonight, hoping to continue their quest to a title game, taking on Pleasant Grove on the road. And man, did this game turn out to be one of the best games of the night. On the first drive, Spartans quarterback Eric Hanley takes a high snap, fakes the play action, and delivers the touchdown pass to Rashad Sager for a Pleasant Grove score. And the Spartans offense would continue to go to work, where Cam Wormley rushes up the middle for the Wildcat touchdown, and a point to the camera makes it a 14-0 game. But the Knights came to play tonight. Drake Franklin takes the handoff. He powers his way into the end zone. Not the first time we've said that this season. 14-7 ball game. The two teams would continue to share blows, but a second half comeback attempt would come up short as Arab falls to Pleasant Grove 41-38 in a double overtime thriller. So here's a look at who Pleasant Grove will be playing next week in the state semis. Ramsey takes down Leeds 27-19 tonight at Legion Field. All right, well, how about we go ahead and call our first timeout of the show, but don't go anywhere.
Coming up next on Big Game Friday night, we head out to FYFFE, where the Red Devils were hoping to continue their perfect season.
It's the McCurry Big Game Friday night.
Welcome back into Big Game Friday Night Playoff Edition. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, we had ourselves an awesome night of high school football in Alabama, and one of the great matchups took place in the 2A playoffs. FYFFE back in action at home, taking on Tuscaloosa Academy tonight in the state quarterfinals. The Red Devils hoping to return to the state semis after falling in the quarterfinals a year ago. We'll pick up with the Red Devils driving. Logan Anderson going to get something going early, picking up the first down here on the first drive of the game, and that drive would lead to points. Handoff to Anderson again. This time he makes one cut and he finds the end zone. FYFFE out to an early 7-0 lead. Tuscaloosa would respond with the score of their own, but the Red Wave would keep on rolling. Blake Dobbins on the naked bootleg. He's going to find Evan Chandler for the 15-yard score, as the Red Devils will be headed to the state semis for the 4th time in 5 years, following the 35-7 win over Tuscaloosa Academy. But the state semis isn't the goal for the Red Devils. It's a state title.
Our kids, you know, they work extremely hard, and football's a big deal here, and you know, they really work all year long to be where they are today.
So who will the Red Devils play in the semis? In the other 2A matchup, Pisgah was at home tonight taking on Aliceville, playing in their first state semifinal matchup since 2002. They came out with the purpose. Legion McCreary takes a handoff. He just walks in for an early lead, but the back wouldn't stop there. It's McCreary again. And again, he finds the end zone to put the Eagles up 2 scores. But Aliceville will respond. Tigerian Williams on the quarterback keeper, and he powers this one in to make it a 1-score game. Mason Holcomb, though, would snuff out any hope that the Yellow Jackets had, runs the read option to perfection, and Pisgah is going to the state semifinals for the first time since 2002, following a 26-22 win.
Back here in Huntsville, it's been a historic year for Randolph as the team has back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in school history, and they were looking to make some additional changes to the record book tonight. So over on Garth Road, the Raiders playing their first third-round game in school history against the Warriors of Cherokee County, and Randolph has a pretty reliable policy all season long. Get the ball to Nick Strong and good things will follow. You see it right there, capping off that opening drive with a score. as the Raiders jump in front. But the Warriors' ground game not too shabby either. Jacob Cornejo following his blockers to open space, and then it's a foot race. Throw a couple stiff arms and jukes in for good measure, and Cherokee County is on the board, but they would miss the extra point, so Randolph is still up 7-6 as Nick Strong heads back into the huddle after missing a couple plays with injury. How about that? Off of the sideline and into the end zone. Raiders up 14-6 now, but the Warriors found a way to rally, ending Randolph's historic season at home with a 35-21 loss. After the game, head coach David Lloyd shared his message to his guys.
You've raised the standard of this football program, and that's on you. You've done that. You've made us relevant. You've allowed people to know who we are. And that's nothing to hang your head about, man. You've won 10 games this year. You played in the quarterfinals for the first time in this school's history. And sometimes you can come out and you can lay it on the line, play after play after play, and come away empty-handed. But the best thing you can do is get back up and go do it again another time.
Down at Oneonta, the Redskins hosting the Deschler Tigers as they tried to keep their season perfect. But on the first play from scrimmage, Landon Abernathy hands it off to Demarion Bothwell, and he takes it to the house, untouched for 70+, 7-0 Oneonta. And the Redskins defense came to play too. Cameron Pendleton with the strip, and this ball is recovered by Josiah Coover. Oneonta ball again. Now Abernathy rolls right, looks, and hits Tegan Hill for the first down. That's going to set up the second TD of the night for the Big Mel. You guessed it, it's Bothwell once again, manhandling his way into the end zone. He was at it again with just 47 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Bothwell again on the carry. It's not a repeat, it's touchdown number 3. Oneonta led 41-7 at the half and 62-20 at the final whistle, ending the Tigers season with their first loss.
And last but not least, we'll finish up our coverage in Tennessee. The Fayetteville Tigers back in action in the third round of the 1A playoffs tonight in Tennessee on the road, but the Tigers suffer their first loss of the season as they fall to McKenzie 20-18. All right, well, that's going to wrap up this season's final edition of Big Game Friday night.
But before we go, we would just like to take this time to thank all of our radio sponsors for helping make this show possible. We could not have done it without them all season.
We'd also like to thank our producers, everyone back in production, and our shooters for helping make this show possible all season long. Thank you so much.
It's been a great season. Thanks so much for joining us this year. We'll leave you a final time with this night's Top Lights.
Good night, everybody.
Watching a special presentation of Wave 31 Sports.